taking a look at a lower parts kit. So you buy these all the time. They're around $89, $100, depending on the quality of the guts, I guess. And what we're looking at is a baggie with a standard pistol grip in it. We've got the bag, then we've got a couple of sub kits. One of them here is the trigger and the hammer and pins and the selector and a couple of screws. Then we've got the trigger guard and the hammer springs and stuff. And then we've got, that's what came out of the pistol grip, was a bunch of little detents and things. So if you look at an AR receiver, it's basically it started out at life as a block of metal, block of aluminum, and for the most part there's different ways to make them, but block of aluminum, lots of cuts and drills and things on a three-dimensional mill, and you end up with this crazy looking piece of metal that has a bunch of holes and slots and holes that correspond with each other. You know, there's little places where things go through and touch with other places. So things like your pistol grip, when it goes on, it's a little bit more to it than that. There's a little spring here and a detent that keeps your safety from swapping back and forth. So you know, you may not realize on first look that the pistol grip is holding in a thing that keeps your safety from spinning around. Your stock is holding in a little spring that keeps this pin from falling out when you disassemble the rifle. So there's lots of little subtle things going on in here, and when it comes time to put one of these together, you're not going to learn how on our channel or from this video. I recommend either watching a DVD that's professionally made that knows how to instruct you on how to get all these little parts together, or get a book. It's really not that difficult. It's a lot like putting together an erector set. Obviously some of the odd shaped parts can only go in a certain way. It only gets really complicated, or the most complicated it gets, you could say, is when you have to put these little pins in the appropriate places, since some of the springs and pins, you know, look similar. So that's the basics of the lower parts kit and putting together the lower receiver. And that's something that if you don't want to take on that job or that hobby or that task, you can buy a complete lower, which is going to have the trigger and the trigger guard and all the little levers and things. It's going to have its receiver extension, this tube, in place already. Usually even comes with a spring and a buffer, I think, a lot of times, your pistol grip and everything. So think about getting a complete lower. You might spend a couple of more dollars, but you don't have to buy the lower parts kit separately. You don't have to buy the pistol grip separately. You don't have to buy, you know, all these different parts separately. So now let's turn off the film again and we'll jump to the complete lower. Okay, so I don't know, half an hour later or so, we've got the lower parts kit back put in there, and that's the things like the takedown pins, detent, trigger, selector, pretty much everything. I guess I could put the trigger guard on still, but all the small parts that come in your lower parts kit. Once they're all assembled, there's not much to it. Put it together with the upper. Now it's really just hand guards, and we're at a rifle. The stock will slide on the end there, and we'll turn off the camera and put the rest of it together.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.